When my wife slammed the divorce papers on the table and told me I'd never be able to fight her in court because I couldn't afford a lawyer, I calmly nodded. "You're right," I said. She smirked. Then, in walked the one man she never expected to see again, my older brother, the divorce attorney she still had nightmares about. I'm not the dramatic type. I'm a small-town guy, the kind who actually reads cereal boxes in the morning and doesn't change brands unless the store forces me to. I work in HVAC, fix busted furnaces and leaky air conditioners, and generally stay out of people's business unless their vents are hissing or their thermostats are lying. Simple life. Not boring, just predictable. And I liked it that way. My name's Jack. 43 years old, been married to Melissa for 12 years. We met at a cookout. She liked my ribs, I liked her laugh. Seemed like a fair trade. We dated for about a year, moved in together, then tied the knot in Vegas with an Elvis impersonator and two very drunk witnesses we met at the blackjack table. Yeah, it was impulsive. But it felt right. The first few years were good. Real good, actually. We had our routines, our inside jokes. She'd leave little notes in my lunchbox, and I made her pancakes on Saturdays. The kind with the crispy edges. You don't do that for just anyone. But somewhere along the way, things started to change. It wasn't all at once. Little things, like she stopped asking about my day. Or how she started going out with the girls more often than she stayed home. I chalked it up to us growing into ourselves. You don't expect butterflies and fireworks after a decade, right? Just comfort. Steady love. But then came the missed calls. The secretive texting. The weekends away that were suddenly work retreats. I had my suspicions. I'm not a genius, but I'm not an idiot either. Still, I didn't confront her. Not at first. I figured, maybe I was imagining things. Maybe I was just tired. Paranoid. Or hell, maybe I was scared of the answer. Then one Tuesday evening, she sat me down at the kitchen table. The same one we bought together with our first tax return. She pushed a folder toward me. "I want a divorce," she said. Just like that. No tremble in her voice, no tears. It was like she was ordering a damn latte. "Okay," I said. "Because what the hell else do you say?" She went on to say she wanted the house, the car, and spousal support. "You can keep your tools," she added, as if I should be grateful. I stared at her. And then she delivered the kicker, "You can't afford a lawyer to fight me anyway." She was right. Sort of. See, what she forgot, or maybe just didn't know, was that I have an older brother. His name's Cole. And Cole isn't just any lawyer. He's a goddamn shark in a suit. The kind who eats prenups for breakfast and makes judges sweat. We hadn't talked much in the last few years. Family drama, old wounds, the usual. But when I told him what was happening, he said one sentence. "I'll handle it." And just like that, my wife's smug smile started to fade. Cole showed up to the first hearing in a tailored navy suit that probably cost more than my truck. He didn't say much at first. Just sat beside me with that bored, mildly irritated look he reserves for traffic and ex-girlfriends. Melissa walked in with her lawyer, a guy who looked like he got lost on his way to an insurance seminar. No offense to actuaries, but this man was not ready for Cole. She blinked when she saw him. Her smile twitched. That smug expression she wore like lipstick began to fade, like someone switched off her confidence. She glanced at me, then back at him. "Hi, Melissa," Cole said coolly. "Still wearing perfume from the 2007 ex-girlfriend starter pack, I see." Her lawyer cleared his throat, clearly uncomfortable. That was day one. Over the next few weeks, things got interesting. Turns out, Melissa had made some strategic errors in her little plan to cash me out and ride into the sunset. For starters, she hadn't realized that filing for divorce while already involved with someone else, who happened to be our neighbor, by the way, might not play so well in court. Especially when she was demanding the house, spousal support, and my dog. Oh yeah. She wanted Bear, my mutt of 10 years who hates her and once peed in her high heels. Out of spite. I like to think. Cole, bless his cold-blooded heart, started digging. Emails, bank statements, cell records. And what he found painted a different picture. Money transfers. Hotel bookings. Deleted texts she somehow forgot were backed up. At one point, Melissa called me. I think she hoped there was still some part of the Jack who once made her pancakes and danced with her in the living room to 90s slow jams. We don't have to do this the hard way, she said. You already picked the hard way, I told her. I'm just playing the hand you dealt. Cole's strategy was simple, dismantle her narrative piece by piece. He wasn't just fighting for me to keep the house. He was fighting to make sure she didn't walk away thinking she could burn everything down and still claim she was the victim. And here's the best part. Melissa's new boyfriend? The neighbor? Yeah, turns out he's married. His wife showed up at one of the hearings. Sat right behind Melissa, arms crossed, smirking like a Bond villain. I bought her a coffee afterward. By the time we got to the third hearing, Melissa was no longer smirking. She wasn't even looking at me. Her lawyer, bless him, had started sweating through his shirt. I almost felt bad for the guy. Almost. By now, it was less a divorce and more a slow-motion implosion. Cole handed me a flash drive one night at his office. No words, just that familiar raised eyebrow. He was smiling, but the kind of smile that tells you someone's about to get obliterated in a very polite, legally admissible way. What's on it? I asked. Proof. Of how far down the rabbit hole she went, he said. And a little surprise. Turned out Melissa hadn't just been having an affair. She'd also been helping herself to our joint savings. A few thousand at a time, moved to an account under a fake business name. Essential Oils Import, Export, which is code for, I'm hiding money from my husband. Cole traced it all. In court, he dropped it like a bomb. Just slid a packet across the table with a neat little label on top, Exhibit C, Fraudulent Financial Behavior. Melissa turned white. Her lawyer turned green. And the judge's eyebrows went up so high I thought they'd fly off his head. She tried to deny it at first. Said it was a mistake, a misunderstanding. But the timestamps, the transfers, the email trail, it was airtight. And Cole's voice was like ice. You stole from your husband, he said. And lied about it in a sworn affidavit. That's perjury. That's fraud. And here's where it got personal. See, she had convinced some mutual friends I was the villain. Told them I was emotionally distant, borderline controlling. That I worked too much. That I didn't appreciate her. The classic playbook. But Cole had more. He called a character witness. Unexpected. My buddy Rick, who bartends at our local pub. Melissa used to come in late, he said on the stand. Real late. Would sit in the back booth with that neighbor guy. Thought they were slick. He had receipts. Credit card swipes. A couple blurry security cam stills. Enough to paint the picture, loud and clear. And then came the texts. Oh, the texts. Not just to the neighbor, but to her best friend. Mocking me. Calling me pathetic. Saying she was going to take me for all I was worth, and leave me living in my truck with that ugly dog. Bear, by the way, took offense. I sat through it all stone-faced. Let the room see what I had seen in whispers for years, the truth. Not the woman I married. Not the woman who laughed at my dad jokes and cried during Pixar movies. This was someone else entirely. Someone cruel. Entitled. And stupid enough to put it all in writing. But the part that hit me hardest? The email she wrote to her friend a month before asking for a divorce. She said, and I quote, "I'm going to ruin him. He thinks I'm still on his side. He has no clue." I remember staring at that line. It wasn't heartbreak anymore. It was pure clarity. Some people, when they decide to burn it all down, don't stop until they're standing in ash. She wasn't confused. She wasn't scared. She was calculated. When we left the courtroom that day, Cole looked at me and said, "We're not done. Not even close." And he was right. After everything that had come out, Melissa tried a new strategy: play the victim. I don't know if it was her lawyer's idea or if she came up with it during one of her yoga with wine sessions, but suddenly she was wearing muted colors and sobbing during court appearances. It was like watching someone audition for a sad Lifetime movie. "I just feel so betrayed," she said one day on the stand. "He's weaponized his own brother against me." Cole didn't even flinch. "You weaponized yourself, ma'am. I'm just here to show the court the footage." At this point, the judge was visibly fed up. You could see it in how often he rubbed his temples. I half expected him to throw his gavel across the room like a dodgeball. But here's the thing no one expects in a divorce: that the person you loved can morph into a complete stranger. Melissa used to be the woman who nursed me through the flu, who cried when my dad died, who held my hand in the ER when I thought I was having a heart attack, turned out to be gas, but still. And now? Now she was running a PR campaign against me, trying to paint me as this abusive, controlling monster. So Cole flipped the script. He brought in old photos. Emails. Even recordings. All legally obtained. My favorite was a voicemail she left on my phone a year ago, drunk, laughing, "I could never leave you, Jack. You're too good. Too decent. You're boring but in a good way. Like mashed potatoes." Cole played it with a straight face. The judge actually chuckled. Bit by bit, her credibility eroded. The friend she texted about ruining me? She testified too. Turns out Melissa had borrowed money from her and never paid it back. And she was pissed. Said she only played along out of guilt. "I felt bad for her," the friend said. "Now I just feel stupid." By this point, Bear had become something of a symbol. Everyone knew about the dog. Melissa's attempt to get custody of him had become a running joke in town. Even the mailman had an opinion. Spoiler: he was Team Bear. It was strange, this slow turning of the tide. I started getting nods at the diner. Handshakes from guys who'd been quiet before. Even Melissa's own cousin texted me, saying, "Damn, man. Didn't know she was like that. Respect for how you're handling it." But the best moment? Melissa cornered me in the courthouse lobby one afternoon. "You're loving this, aren't you? Watching me fall apart." I looked at her. Really looked at her. And I saw it, not the villain, not the manipulator, but the scared, cornered girl she used to be before she started turning everything to ash. "No," I said. "I'm not loving it. I'm surviving it. There's a difference." She didn't say anything after that. Just turned and walked away. The courtroom was colder that morning, maybe just in mood. Melissa sat stiffly beside her lawyer, who looked like he hadn't slept. Cole, on the other hand, looked like a man who'd already had his victory cigar and was just sticking around to watch the credits. The judge cleared his throat. He didn't waste time. After reviewing all the evidence, he began, "This court finds the plaintiff's claims of abuse unsubstantiated, her financial conduct dishonest, and her request for full ownership of the marital assets not only unjustified, but insulting to the intelligence of this court." Translation: she lost. I kept my face neutral. It took everything I had not to smile. Not out of revenge, that ship had sailed long ago, but out of relief. Months of stress, lies, fights, betrayal, and finally, some justice. Cole reached over and squeezed my shoulder. "Told you," he muttered. Melissa was awarded nothing she asked for. The house stayed mine. The car? Mine. Spousal support? Denied. Bear? Officially mine, though I didn't need a judge to tell me that. He was waiting at home with his chew toy and his weird hatred for mailmen. But the real victory? Seeing Melissa realize she'd lost the story. She wasn't the victim. She wasn't the clever manipulator. She was just human. Flawed. Exposed. After the ruling, she walked past me without a word. I half expected one last dig. A glare. A sarcastic comment. But there was nothing. Just silence. And in some ways, that was louder than anything she could have said. A few days later, I had dinner with Cole. "You know," I said between bites, "I never thanked you." He waved it off. "You would have done the same for me. Still. You didn't have to go that hard." He smiled. "Actually, I did. She needed to learn. Some people only get the message when it's carved into stone." We toasted over cheap beer and greasy pizza. Brothers again. No more grudges. Just shared history, war stories, and that rare feeling of walking away from something hard with your dignity intact. Life went on. I went back to work. Replaced a few broken AC units. Fixed a busted furnace. Spent weekends grilling ribs and watching bad action movies with Bear. People think divorce ends with the ruling. It doesn't. It ends in how you rebuild. How you learn to laugh again. How you stop asking why and start asking what's next. Melissa moved out of town a few months later. I heard the neighbor dumped her. Karma doesn't always knock loud, but it always shows up. As for me, I didn't just survive. I got better. I learned that peace doesn't always come wrapped in love letters and wedding rings. Sometimes it walks in late, uninvited, wearing a suit and calling you little brother. Thanks, Cole. And if you're reading this, Melissa, next time you play dirty, remember, some people keep sharks in the family.